You guys are freedom fighters, I know it. It reminds me of the great good that under General Gates 244 years ago that delivered the first blow against the British. I'm Don Brown. I grew up in eastern North Carolina and now live in Union County. I'm an ex-U.S. Navy JAG officer, served in the Pentagon, and also served as an action officer for the Secretary of the Navy and the Judge Advocate General. Let's talk about the U.S. Senate race. The U.S. Senate race in North Carolina that we're going to be moving into within the next few months is the most critical and the most important Senate race in the 21st century in the United States. Why is this? Not only because the balance of the Senate is hanging in place, but here is the crucial issue. The United States Senate race will determine whether or not the great Make America Great movement will live on and burn brightly as a torch of liberty, or whether it will die on the ash heap of history. We have an opportunity here in North Carolina to fire the first shot of the Second American Revolution to show that MAGA is here and MAGA is here to stay. And I guarantee you that if I'm your candidate and I'm your nominee and I'm your senator, you ain't seen nothing yet, because MAGA will live on. Now, there are two crucial questions that I think that we as Republicans must answer in determining which way we go in this race. Number one, will our next senator have the back of our great President of the United States? Question one. And question number two, in the next 4 years after President Trump is gone, will our senator carry the torch of freedom and MAGA in a time when our very republic, the survival of our republic, may be on the line? Back to question one, how do we determine if our senator will have the president's back? I don't have all the answers, but I can suggest the best way of determining that is track record. Let's talk about the track record of our dear distinguished senator, senior senator, for a moment. He came in and he not only supported Robert Mueller, but he introduced legislation to protect Robert Mueller. Robert Mueller is a kangaroo court prosecutor who was put into place in violation of the Constitution. He himself should be prosecuted. Tillis supported the guy, and then he went against the president on the president's border wall proposal, and then he wanted to push a pathway to citizenship, and then of all things he wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post to attack President Trump's proposal in 2019 to declare an emergency at the border. Ladies and gentlemen, we've lost more men and women at the border from fentanyl than 10 years of Vietnam. Let me share a little bit about my track record. I was an ex-Navy JAG officer in 2015 when the Obama administration began to kill our men and women in service because of the rules of engagement. I went to work. I went to work with our great Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and we began to advocate for men and women who have been thrown into prison by Obama. I made probably 20 trips to Leavenworth on my own dime in 2018 and 19. In 2019, President Trump pardoned Lieutenant Clint Lawrence, who I represented, an 82nd Airborne paratrooper who had been 20 years under the Obama administration rules of engagement. Then, when the Democrats tried to steal the election in 2020, I worked with Sidney Powell and other patriot attorneys to fight the steal. In fact, Sidney Powell endorsed our candidacy just 2 weeks ago. And I can tell you one thing, if you believe that Joe Biden got 80 million votes, I have some tropical land and the illusions that I'm ready to sell to you. It did not happen. Then, when our patriots on January 6th exercised our constitutional rights, I've stood with our January 6th patriots. I've given them legal advice. I've represented our January 6th patriots. In fact, the President of the United States pardoned one of my clients. Somebody asked me in Cabarrus County a few weeks ago if I was MAGA. Let me tell you something. I would go to war for Donald J. Trump. I would go to war for him. He is not perfect, but he is this. He is America first. And I'll tell you this. I'm one of the very handful of patriot attorneys. We don't need more lawyers. Somebody said, I agree. You shut out the law schools and throw the key away, as far as I'm concerned. But what we need is patriots, because they're using lawfare to fight us. I'm one of the very handful of patriot attorneys who said the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, pardoned 2 of my clients. I'll go to war for the guy. So as I close, the issue is, what are we going to do as we move in? I battle for medical freedom. I sued the Savannah River plant. We must pull these dangerous mRNA vaccines off the market. We must We must push back against the CDC and say, CDC, if you don't stop pushing these dangerous vaccines on our kids, we're going to fund you like we've taken out the Department of Education. And it isn't just the Department of Education that closed. Our people want the Internal Revenue Service eliminated now and forever. The greatest constitutional mistake we ever made in this country was passing the 15th Amendment. And DOGE has shown, as I close, that the deep state of the federal government is a criminal enterprise. We must go against the deep state, or we must take it out. And the way we take out the deep state is we cut its money. Just like you cut sugar to a cancer, their cancer is money. I say eliminate the Internal Revenue Service and end the income tax system. No more individual income taxes. No more corporate income taxes. If that happens, the jobs that we have lost will flow back into the United States as fast as make your head spin. I'm getting my 1 minute mark. If you send me to the United States Senate, I will fight like you have never seen on the floor of the Senate before. I will defend the United States Constitution. I will respect the platform of the North Carolina Republican Convention, and I will move, and I will stand for us. May God bless you all. God bless the United States, the great state of North Carolina. Thank you all.